Can you clear that up? So I'll stop talking now. Introduce
Yeah.
yourself so everybody knows like you're here for a reason.
Yeah. So for anyone watching, my name is Cassandra Galan. I'm the owner of Galan Consulting. I do taxes and bookkeeping, and we niche in the beauty industry. And so I saw his meme, just scrolling through reels on Instagram, and I saw that video about, the being on commission and 1099 and being someone that does taxes and niches in this industry. It's a major problem that I see in this industry. And I've done consultations with people where they're like, well, I don't know what to do with my taxes, because I just get commission. And I'm like, okay, well, are you buying your own supplies? Do you pay rent? Do you do any of this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, they're misclassifying you. And that's what the actual term is called. It's misclassification. So what that means is that when you are on a 1099, you're an independent contractor. You're supposed to be like, you're self-employed. You're like basically small business owner, same thing. They're all taxed the same way. And so you're supposed to be like paying rent for your booth or your chair, your suite, whatever, buying your own supplies, supplying your own tools, equipment, everything. You're not supposed to be, given all of these things and then still being paid on a 1099. And so what a 1099 does is like, no, there's no taxes taken out of that pay. When we work a regular job where we're W-2 or being commissioned, in the beauty industry, it's like getting a paycheck where you work a regular job and they're automatically taking taxes out for like federal tax, Social Security, Medicare, and then depending on what state you're in, also state income tax. And so when you're 1099, you don't have any of these taken out. You have to pay it yourself. And a lot of these like salon owners, unfortunately, a lot of them know what they're doing when they're doing this because they don't want to pay their responsibility. Because as an employer, you have to pay half of Social Security and Medicare tax. And then the employee pays the other half. So as an employer, that percentage is a little bit over 7%. And when you're an independent contractor, you have to pay both sides of that. It's 15.3%. And, a lot of people, when they're like new hairstylists getting into the industry, they don't know about this. They go and do their taxes with their 1099.
Not even that. Oh, you should see the comments. There's people that went like 10 plus years with this scenario before they like smartened up.
Yeah. They go and do their taxes. All of a sudden they owe like $10,000 or even more. Like I've had people owe like $40,000, just depending on how much you're making. But, they don't have anything to help lower that because the salon is misclassifying them and they don't have any expenses to help like kind of offset those taxes.
Really? So like with that scenario, is there any way for you as being the tax accountant and handling that you made the IRS aware of the misclassification so they go after the salon for the money and not the client, not the hairstylist?
Yeah, so that's at the discretion of my client if they want to report that person or not. Like I've been on calls with people where they don't want to report it because they don't want to like lose their job. And I told them, well, you could either go through this process of reporting the employer to the IRS. There's like a certain form, and I don't know the form at the top of my head right now. There's a certain form that you send into the IRS, and the IRS will make the decision if whether or not you're being misclassified. Obviously, in most of these scenarios, they are, Yeah. But that form, the IRS takes months to get back. They're really slow at these kind of things or at
They want their money fast, but they want to address you real slow.
Yeah. So when I get on calls with stylists or beauty pros in these kind of situations, I kind of tell them you have the option of sending in this form and going through the process and possibly, suing your employer for those taxes back, by going through Department of Labor and things like that. Or you can move on and go somewhere else where you're going to get classified the right way. Most of them will take the latter, and it's really up to them, whatever's easier, whatever they want to go through. But I always tell them, you're going to want to move on anyway. You don't want to work for someone that's knowingly misclassifying you.
Anybody who's watching this as a hairstylist, Sandra, we're talking about when a salon owner will bring a stylist on as a commission stylist, which is W-2, and then have them operate or classified as well as a 1099, which is a independent contractor, gig worker, who pays their own employment tax because they're their own business. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 99.9999% of the stylists are not coming into commission salons with an LLC and a business structure and then hired on as a W-2 9-to-5 commission stylist.
Right.
So that is, in layman's term, what we're talking about now is hair salons hiring stylists, W-2, so they pay them, commission, but then have them pay their own taxes by classifying them as well as a 1099, which is a independent hairstylist, gig worker contract.
Yeah.
Which what I was aware of, you cannot be classified as two things and taxed on both. Like it's one form of taxes.
Exactly. They're basically tricking people, saying, oh, you're going to get a commission, but then issuing them at the end of the year or in January a 1099 instead of a W-2, because you can't be both. And to go back on like what you were saying earlier about like, people coming in and being fed clients, that's really what this classification really comes down to, what the IRS rules are. It really comes down to control. So if they are controlling, your schedule, 9 to 5 or whatever the salon hours are, they're giving you clients, they're supplying, all the tools, equipment, product, everything, then you're supposed to be an employee. That's a W-2 employee. That's not a 1099 independent contractor. If you're an independent contractor, you make your own schedule, you pay, a booth
Which means
rent.
you go in the salon when you want, how you want, any which way.
Yeah, you pay your booth rent or suite rent. You're bringing in your own tools and everything, your own product, and that's it. Your only responsibility to the owner is just paying your rent, and that's it. They're not supposed to be, they can give you clients, they could refer clients to you, but being an employee is like you have to be there all day, get whatever clients they're coming into the salon, walk in or appointments, whatever, and you don't pay rent. You're using all of their tools and products and everything. As an independent contractor, you supply all your own things, you make your own schedule, and you pay your rent, and that's it.
So ultimately, what is the salon owners trying to like avoid paying as far as taxes? I need
payroll
list
tax.
Can you just like list? Oh, just literally payroll tax.
Payroll tax, and like there's other responsibilities as an owner, like workers' comp insurance and things like that. But ultimately, it's like they're just avoiding being legitimate.
Would you say if I earned, let's say $100,000, right? We'll just say 6 figures. And I was out working at a salon and I was a W-2 as well as being identified and classified as a 1099. How much in taxes would I have paid for the W-2 side and now the 1099, would you say? Do you know?
So half of the payroll tax. So I wouldn't know the number off the top of my head, but let's say, off $100,000, Social Security and Medicare tax, that's what they're avoiding, which is payroll tax. Social Security and Medicare tax, both sides of it, the employee plus the employer side is 15.3%.
So I would have paid that, but if and is this how it works? This is what I don't know. When am I paying that for the salon as in the W-2 section? See what I'm saying?
You pay only your side, and then
but I do pay that.
Yeah.
But when she hands me, or he or she, salon owner, hands me my 1099 or my 1099 situation, do I then have to pay again?
Yeah, you pay both sides of it.
So on 100,000,
that's like $15,000.
50% commission. What do you think in taxes?
So it would be about like $7,000-8,000.
Okay, so we'll say $8,000. You have to pay once, and then as an independent, I earned 10,000. I'm 100,000, and how much in that for the independent now?
15,000. So it's basically double. Yeah.
So, about $20,000 in taxes when you really should have been paying about 7 or 8.
Yeah, and this is just only the Social Security and Medicare.
That's what I'm saying. There's that little bit.
Yeah.
Wow. Is there any scenario in the world that someone could be a W-2 and a 1099 as a hairstylist? No. Okay, so this is 100% wrong.
It's only one or the other. You can't be both. Yeah.
Okay, because I did talk to a hairstylist, and I don't think I'm wrong, but you can correct me again. She gets hired to do bridal stuff from the salon, but she's commissioned at the salon. So they pay, she is still like, I think she was a gig worker because they have like an outside business that specializes in bridal stuff, where she is to show up just for these jobs at a certain time and do her thing. And she gets a 1099 on that. But when she's working in the salon, she's commissioned.
You said it's an outside business?
Yeah, it's like the salon owner first started as like an updo bridal specialist, and then she grew out her team, so that was like its own business. And then she was like, oh, she had an opportunity to open up the salon, so she did the salon. So she has like a hair bridal team and a salon.
I think that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said it sounds like, to me, again, a gig worker, a 1099 is someone who operates, has an LLC, has like a proper business structure for that identity of what they do. And it's a gig worker. So they show up on their terms, operate how their business operates, and gets paid in that way. Like they're not told, well, I guess you have to be on site for like hair, but like,
well, I mean, to me it sounds more kind of like sorry to cut you off, but to me it sounds more kind of like subcontracting. Like, you know, they're giving her an offer for a job, and then she just shows up and gets paid for that job.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, this is, as you may or may not know, but I do a coaching program, and I inform them of that. Like, I break down all the numbers for them so they can see exactly what they actually get to keep at the end of the day after paying for product, independent hairstylists. After they pay for product, overhead, living expenses, and taxes, that's your true profit. Because until you pay all your bills, then you don't make money. You have to make sure the bills are paid to make money. But that is something I'm heavy on, and I tell them to do it quarterly. Some don't even know what quarterly is. You know what I mean? I think this is good. Actually, I think this is a good segue to do another interview. If you want to do another video, we can go into like understanding, like setting it up, write off, like really big write-off things. Because again, I try to tell these hairstylists, I'm like, yes, my program, like I offer payment plans, but my full program for the 3 months with me, one-on-one, is $2,998. So it's basically $3,000, right? But I tell them that like that is 100% write-off, continuing education or investment in the business. So I don't, because, and I guess this is when you don't know something, you're scared of it, right? And most people don't want to learn taxes or credit, right? But taxes and credit run the world. Once you understand how to use and abuse both, then you'll get somewhere. But I try to tell them at the end of the year, you are going to just give it to the government, or you're going to somehow figure out, give it to yourself and give it to the business to get bigger and better. But, you know what I mean? Like I try to tell them, like it's almost like a win-win-win. Like you get to work with me, I'll grow your business, and then you get to expense it at the end of the year. And they're like, oh, I'm like, all right, like, you know, again.
To them, it sounds like scammy, you know?
But that's again, like you
but
never
they don't know, so it's like intimidating.
Know. And people almost, I feel like people almost don't seek education and knowledge from the people who know. Like, would you say most people come to you in situations when it's not like it's almost too late or too late? That's crazy to me. And these things are money. Like a lot of people, again, even though I offer payment plan, right? A 12-month, like $270 a month payment plan. Some people can't even qualify for it. I'm like watching your IG and you're doing all sorts of shit. So, you know what I mean? 270, not to say it's not a little bit of money, but if I can almost guarantee you, I'll make you 3 or 4 times that a month that you pay me. So it's a no-brainer kinda. It goes back to like those human habits. It's like they don't want to correct money things because, in my opinion, money comes down to discipline and holding yourself accountable. To how you're operating as a human. You know what I mean? And I just want to throw in, like, you know, $3,000 for a coach is the average cost for a business coach. I've spent that and more on business coaches myself. And there's coaches that cost even more than that, you know, but they really do help. I have not worked with one stylist who has listened to me and put things into action that hasn't earned or continued to earn after me an extra $8,000 to $13,000 a month. But no, trust me, like I know you're new to me, but there's no other coach out there in hair that has done everything I've done that works with people one-on-one. Unless you know who Guy Tang is.
Who?
Guy Tang.
No.
Okay, so in my opinion, so Guy Tang is one of the biggest, right? So for example, me, we did the same, basically did the same things. He took it a little bit different route, but like worked independently, grew out his brand, specialized in a technique, launched education. Well, he did a lot of online education. I don't know if he did in person, but then launched a product brand. So like I did all that. So like I grew out of a small town of like 12,000 people, then started doing like platinum white hair when it wasn't normal to see. So I traveled basically the world for 2 years teaching everybody how to do it. Then I started a product company of the bleach that had it, like, you know, the product company to make the results happen independently. So I did like all those things. So, and again, all these things were 7-figure things.
Yeah.
Other than me working independently as a hairstylist, that I did my independent education, that's when it blew up, and then the product brand and all that. But again, that's why I said, like, if you could go find someone like me that charges what I charge, because again, I think the closest thing, like, I can't even call them a coach because they don't work one-on-one with their people. They hire yoga instructors and random. Listen, if I could get into it, like, I had someone coach me and like, I wish I knew you offered this because I just found out I have a hairstylist who has less than 300 followers and does janky work coaching me how to be better. Meanwhile, this stylist is a $12,000 a month stylist. She's one of the top, she's good. She's above average. And she's like, I just learned who this person is because they don't inform you. You just know who you get on calls with. And then she was on a Facebook forum and someone like typed her real name in. So that hairstylist did a little investigating, found her on Instagram, was like,
oh my God.
But the person who onboards them, like the big influencer, does one group meeting a week for half an hour and just talks vaguely. No like addressing the scenario. So I'm like,
yeah,
I love what I do, and I digress because I can rant. Because like I really started going hard on the coaching because I realized so many people are out there kind of taking advantage of hairstylists. And again, if you've learned, I'm an advocate of like standing up and helping them, and I've done it authentically all my years. Like people are always surprised when I reply to their DMs, send them a video message, and they're like, "Bro, you answered me." We are all the same.
I was surprised you even answered me.
Yeah, but that's crazy. Like at the end of the day, I'm just at a different place. But I was where any hairstylist who picks me up at any point in their career, I've been there. So like I'm, as a person, I am no different. I'm just in a different position. But trust me, there's people who came under me who are now in the industry, you know, above me.
Yeah.
And that's great. Like we all should kind of be helping each other with the ladder of success. And I'm just not like that. Like we do hair. We're not curing cancer. You know what I mean? Like we just do hair. And unfortunately, there's a lot of like ego in a industry that you create the art yourself. So you are very passionate about the creation you've worked hard to make happen. I understand that.
Yeah.
But you can, there's so much money in the world and clients that even if I helped you, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's enough for everybody. Yeah.
All right, so we'll end this, but I'm gonna hit you back up, and we're definitely gonna go and create a video for write-offs and maximize.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, great.
All right,
thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye. You too.